Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. It's been a long week. I'll be honest, it's been a long, crazy week. A lot of shit's gone down, nothing too dramatic, but I mean, bro, from the news cycle to just regular life, it's been fucking crazy out there. No? I mean, maybe I'm alone on that, but I definitely don't think I am. I mean, I pumped gas today. Let's just say that it was expensive, and I'm not saying it's like fucking crazy, but it's never fun to see, and I think that's dictated by a lot of the crazy shit going on in the world. But besides the point, it was a good week, I can't complain. It could be worse, These are the fucking, first world problems I think I'm bitching about, and on top of everything else going on. But I'm not here to bitch. I'm here to talk and chat and fucking forget about all that for a little bit, right? So anyways, long week. Worked on a lot of stuff. Did a big update on auditions. Not even trying to plug it. This is literally something I was fucking doing. But, I mentioned it last week. Auditions, my fucking casting network website. Kind of like in the vein of like Backstage or what's the big one? Actors Access. It's similar to that, but like, look, here's the deal. Those sites, they're not, necessarily free. They like, they do like ticky-tacky shit like, hey, like, you can upload more photos if you pay more or if you pay the minimum. And like, I get it. Like, people got to make money and all that, but I kind of like, well, fucking, what if there was one that didn't charge people $20 a month? Because for somebody who's an artist or just starting out as an actor, they just like, $20 to like, somebody especially young, it might just be breaking the bank for them. They might need that extra 20 to get to fucking work or do whatever. And like, my point more so is like, it's not even about the money or like people having to pay. It's just like, I just feel like there's just a zero gatekeeping. It's like, fuck it. Like, if you want to put your fucking project online in an organized spot, like, I can't tell you how many times I go online and see like, DM me or like, hey, like, email me. And it's like, that's fine. It's a direct contact. Like, this is through social media or like Facebook, Instagram, etc. But if there was a site like Auditions, which there is now, that exists, where it could be like very clean and professional and streamlined, I think it just helps like, it lets people buffer between the talent and the actual like production, but it also lets people see them and get like a flavor of who this person is. It won't just like be an unheard DM or like, and it's not a huge, like I said, it's not a huge stray away from these other sites that like have done it, but it's like, my thing is modern, free, and very user-friendly. And I think that the profile aspect especially allows you to showcase yourself, your talent, your skills very nicely. So yeah, been working on Auditions. I'm going to really start marketing it hard. I was marketing it and then I started bugging it and I started seeing like, there were a lot of like things I like under sites, and it wasn't even that many things, but it was like, oh, there's a little design error here and there. I'm like, okay, that doesn't look super premium. And then really, I think the other thing was fucking some functionality things. It wasn't like it didn't work, but like you click a button and it takes you to that page. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's definitely not how that's supposed to fucking work. But I did a huge update and, I'm pretty confident it took care of a lot of the problems that I saw, and even like Stevie and Christine and everybody else who's been testing it out. So yeah. What else did I do? Okay. So auditions, that was a big one. I've been revising Cork. I'll get into that in a minute, but yeah, just, I printed the script out for the first time in a minute and I was like, okay, like I'm really going to go through this and like with fresh eyes. And I like, believe me, like I'm thorough when I go through a screenplay. I'm like, okay, like I'm pretty sure this is what I fucking want, but things can always change. And like, it's funny because like with Peninsula Nights, I always say I did like, 12 or 15, probably 20 drafts by the time it was done. Some scenes I just redrafted like many times to fit. Like the nature of that shoot was very wild. Let's just say that. And like, it was like, hey, like that scene I had at that place, like we're fucking rewriting it because we don't have that place and we need to use this other place that I got now. So like different, but iterations are important. I think that Cork, going into the 5th iteration, I'd also just I just made a movie. Coming into the next screenplay, it was like, okay, I wrote it. For me, a draft doesn't take me that long. Like I'm a fast writer. And then revisions are really where I like, okay, I'm chipping away. Cause like when I also get the idea for a movie, it's like a lightning bolt. It's like, poof, like I get it. I see the movie. I understand it. It's coming down the antenna and I just write it out and I make the damn thing, right? But it's the chipping away and going back and being like, I always use the example. It's like you have a fucking statue or a slab of fucking marble and you want to be Michelangelo. You want to fucking chip out, the perfect statue. Well, you got to fucking start somewhere, right? Like get the big block of marble and then start chipping away and make it, don't Don't over fucking think it, but like that also comes with time. You know, like when you're writing, you're practicing the craft, right? So you have to start with a slab to get to the fucking statue. I guess that's to put it simply before I go on a fucking tangent. But yeah, I think I've gotten a better just as a writer in general from writing so much. My marble slab is a lot easier to get to the statue now. What I'm saying is like fifth draft, like iteration wise, like I said, Peninsula Nights, many drafts. Cork, less drafts till I felt like it was done. When I finished writing it, like I usually don't move on to another script. I'm like, okay, that thing was done. But now looking at Cork and seeing like fourth draft, and I read it, I'm like, God, it's pretty fucking good. I was like, I you know, sometimes you impress yourself, right? But going back, I'm like, okay, like I see like, even when I was reading it without like a pen in hand, I'm like, I see where I'm like, okay, I'm going to change that. Or like, I didn't love that. Like, I think when I wrote it, I even didn't love it. I even kind of said that last week. Sometimes like old thoughts pop up, and I have really good like memory recall. Like I remember everything. So like, even when I'm like writing or like reading a script that I've written, I'm like, okay, I actually remember when I was writing it, like why I changed that or didn't like that, you know, and maybe it's my brain. It's very sticky for information. Besides the point, I think the fifth draft will probably lead into a couple more, but like, it's all part of the process. I love it. And I said I wasn't going to talk about Cork. I was going to move on to something else, but no, I guess I'll talk about it. It just feels like the right move, logically. Stevie and I talked about it because like, we've been shooting a lot of just daylight photography. The thing with Peninsula Nights is it was all at night, which I personally, like I've said this before on previous episodes, but like I love nighttime movies. I love a nighttime shoot. I love shooting at night. There's something about it. You can feel the night in the footage, and like the exposures are different. And admittedly, I shot less daytime photography than night. And that's probably because I shot a whole fucking feature of nighttime photography, right? But coming back to, you know, pre-production on something and getting ready to like, you know, really think about how you're going to shoot a project, I do actually, you know, enjoy shooting in the daytime. I've learned so much too, because like, look, in between like Peninsula Nights and now, and I was already shooting shit before. I shot many music videos, many fucking projects leading up to this, you know, working on it my whole life per se. But that being said, shooting daytime now compared to like, even like, I remember even after Peninsula Nights wrapped, I shot a lot of daytime stuff with this Canon lens I had, this 24-70, I think it was the LSM2, whatever. It's a great lens. But I was shooting a lot of that and using like, you know, my ND, and oh man, like the improvement even from then, like the shit looked great. But like Stevie and I talk about this all the time. We shot some shit the other night at my buddy Dominic's house. And it's like, dude, like what we know now compared to even what we knew just even like a couple months ago and a couple of years ago, you truly like, I think when you're like that deep into like doing this, that you kind of take it for granted. You're like, dude, like what we shot was pretty fucking incredible, no? And that's how I'm starting to feel about like the daytime photography, where I'm like, look, I've shot many daytime shoots, but like even now I'm like, I know so much more than I've ever known. And I think that's kind of what the revelation has been lately. It's just like, you know more than you think, but like I think the older you get and the further you get into like life and like fucking cinema, you just like, you know, you have to reflect sometimes, stop, smell the roses and be like, dude, look where we're at with this, like what we've built and what we've done. And that's, I kind of been like that little bit of reflective period lately. And, you know, segueing that into production, like I'm saying, like here with like camera and stuff, I feel like my like confidence as just a cinematographer, directing aside, even director of photography, whatever you want to call it, is at an all-time high. Because I'm like, look, you can, there's a million ways to make a project. You can do whatever you want. But like, I really like shooting the other day. I've been shooting, not even the other day, I've been shooting like all the time. But also shooting this night shit the other night. It just reaffirmed, I'm like, dude, like a couple years ago, like 10 years ago, I never would have even fucking dreamed that I would be the one getting these results personally, like operating, doing everything. And now it's just like, wow. Like, because I remember we bought a Red in probably 2013, maybe 14, maybe 15. I think between 2013 and 2014, I don't know, it was pretty early. There would have just been no way to like do what we do with that camera now. And it's truly fucking remarkable. And like, I don't know, I really have been appreciating it lately. I'm like, wow. And then like technology is just so good. It doesn't mean it's just going to be fucking easy, but like my knowledge of the craft, my experience, skills have all compiled and compounded into this like, you know, ability that I'm very proud of. I'm like, wow, look at how good it's gotten since like you started out, you know. Shot a lot of music videos right after high school. I remember doing many. And like a lot of them were on the Canon 5D Mark III or the Canon 7D. I use the 7D a lot. And like at the time, it was a premium camera to shoot a music video on because DSLR like was kind of the rave, you know. The red digital cinema camera hadn't really been used that much unless you were in Hollywood. Like I think one of the first movies shot on like red fully was fucking Soderbergh, but I know for a fact Fincher used it on The Social Network, and like that was a huge reason I wanted to get it. You know, was like really a big fan of his style and his like aesthetic. But besides the point, it's just, you know, it was unimaginable at that time to do production the way I do it, let alone like one man band. It is like, it's remarkable. And I'm not even trying to, you know, kiss my own ass here. I'm just saying it was not possible 10 years ago to do what I do now. And like, it's just all, like I said, it's all compounded, you know, it's all come around to be exactly what it needs to be. And that's my 2 cents on daylight photography. No, I'm just saying, being able to just use all the like knowledge to get the results. Like, you know, Stevie and I shot some daylight photography yesterday afternoon, I think. And I was just like, God damn, like these, like we both said it like, this is some of the best shit we've ever shot. And it was just in our backyard. It wasn't like a magnum opus moment where like, you know, like we got like this and that. It was just like, you know, some palm trees, some greenery. It was cool, which makes me just fucking think like the next thing will just be even better and better. And like, I don't know, like I look at filmmaking, it's like, dude, you know, I'm all in. I always have been. It's the career that I am building towards. Everything else, like when I'm doing it, I don't even think like some other things aren't long-term. Like, of course, like I have other like interests in like, you know, business that I'm like, well, that's like, I wish it would be so easy to just like do filmmaking full time, like 100%, not think about anything else. But any big fucking filmmaker, they got the side thing, you know, but filmmaking is the first love. It's the real thing. And like, you know, I think like, you know, that's what we're building here. Something that will like eventually be the only thing or the main thing, right? It just takes time. But I feel like we've just like, you know, we've built so much towards it. And especially like seeing these results lately. And I don't know, I'm very excited to see how the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing turns out. It's just an exciting time. And with Stevie feeling better, that's also gotten me feeling like, okay, it's like, fuck, you know, like the feeling I was like holding on to after Peninsula Nights was like, you know, like when he, like we were immediately ready to shoot. Like within less than fucking 6 months of that movie coming out, the next project was ready to go. Then the fires happened in LA. We were going to shoot between San Jose and LA. We had a unique script. I feel it all around. A lot of people submitted to be in it. I feel bad because like it just like we had to pull the plug. One, the fires delayed it because we were like talking like February 25 to shoot it. Fires happened. March comes around. Stevie's birthday. Maybe a week after his birthday, maybe the same week as his birthday. He was down and out about a year ago, right? So it's only been a fucking year. It's hard to even believe that it's been that little bit of time. Even talking about it right now, it feels like it's been eternity. I feel like I've been in fucking filmmaker purgatory. We've made some stuff in between. We made Sinner, Last Call, shot a little fucking improv the other night. And that's between all the other shit that I'm just shooting like footage. Like sometimes we just fucking roll camera at the house and I'll film somebody eating. Like I don't really care. I'm practicing all the time. But yeah, you know, we've really hit a roadblock and that sucked. But Cork kind of like has resurfaced as like the number one choice in my opinion. I'll talk a little bit about Cork. I don't really need to. I've pitched it, you know, Cork, group of friends at a winery, and romances ensue. You know, it's a drinking movie, definitely like a little bit of like a, not even a social commentary on alcoholism, but like it's kind of like just, you know, about like when you're in that part of your life. And I'm not saying like alcoholism, but I'm saying like when you're drinking and you're young or like, you know, you've been around that. I think most people, they have a phase. Like if you're like fucking drinking your whole life, like you got a problem. But like, I think some people have a phase where like, you know, I think I'm gonna hit like the winery route and do this and do that. And like this movie kind of captures what I imagine is like, you know, it's, I don't even think it's embellished. There's some people that definitely live this life and I'm not judging either way, but my point more so is that the movie kind of like touches on like, you know, if like that wine culture vibe mixed with like, you know, like indie drama romance, I kind of mentioned it's like a dramedy, but it captures what I think is like a realistic take on that. Cause I've been out, you know, just growing up in the 831, like, you know, I've had good times. Let's just put it like that. And I get it. And I think this kind of captures like the essence of drunkenness to some extent, which I think is cool. And I think it's relatable. And I think it's actually, you know, pretty fucking true. This movie also kind of fits on brand. Like for me, like, I naturally like, I'm pretty sure I want to say I wrote Harmony before I wrote this, which is another script I'm very fucking passionate about making. But besides the point, Cork comes into play right like during the time like Peninsula Nights was literally coming out, and like that, I just wrote through the fucking anxieties of a movie release. Because my heart was fucking beating when I went to bed at night. Like I was just like, fuck, like we're actually putting this out. Like, and it was, it was rewarding after, but like before, you're like, I was like, God, I fucking don't know how this is gonna go. You don't want people walking out, right? And that wasn't the case at all. But besides the point, yeah, movie feels right. Kind of another love letter to Monterey County, more so Carmel Valley than By the Sea in Monterey. But like, I think it'll extend even over into Salinas Valley. Like the movie kind of is, it's on an odyssey through Monterey County, and there's even some parts where it kind of, steps aside from Monterey. Like there's a little bit of a travel sequence, but besides the point, yeah, I think it'll be relatable, and I think it'll be something that people like. For me personally, I think it's a movie I may even watch more than Peninsula Nights. Peninsula Nights is like when you watch it, it's almost like an experience. Like you watch it, and you're like, well, fuck, that was like, you feel a lot after you watch it. Whereas like, Cork, it's not the big chill, but it's definitely more hangout in the sense of like, you're with the characters for a while. And I kind of talked about this last week, but like when you're in the 100+ page territory, the movie's got some, size to it. And you feel like you're with the characters just a little bit longer. I also like, I don't even think like, Peninsula Nights is like a 91 page script. It's not even like it's short. It's like a standard movie, right? Like it's a fucking truly Hollywood movie. But when you start, what I think is going to happen is when you start getting into the 100+ territory and then you shoot it, I think you're going to feel that extended through like the action or like the actual, like, it's not going to all just be business all the time. It'll be well edited, all that. That's not what I'm trying to get to. I guess what I'm trying to say is that these scenes may play longer because there's more going on. And there's a little bit more to those scenes than just like the characters talking or whatever. There's a little bit more going on in this movie. And I think it's a natural progression, But yeah, I'm excited for that. Been really, like I said, like shooting a lot of daytime photography. I want to shoot some today, but like I can kind of see through like the crack of the studio door that it's sun's going down. What time is it? It's already almost 7. So like, it's like 6:54. Maybe not tonight, but I'll do some nice interior, maybe some exterior shit. I've also been putting the camera on the tripod quite a bit. I usually float it and use Steadicam, but I don't know. There's something about the tripod that's good. I've also been watching an incredible amount, of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and they exclusively tripod, in my opinion. Like quite often they do. And it's a great look. It's extremely steady, and you got to really like be decisive with it. And I'm a pretty decisive person. Like indecision was something I think I used to struggle with more when I was young. Or if I'm making like a big choice, I think it's prudent to fucking be indecisive if it's something that could be like life changing or like a big amount like investment or of like money or time or anything. You're like, yeah, you don't want to fucking commit to something and fucking, like a bank loan and just be like, yeah, I'm going to take out like 500 grand. Like, yeah, you're not going to do that. Like, I just, think about it. Right. But when you're shooting a movie, it's not that. It's fucking, decision making in the moment and being like, hey, like I really need to like, one, stay composed because you got people depending on you when you're filming, especially when you're directing or maybe doing both. And you got to make executive decisions. You got to be like, yo, like maybe there, maybe that way. You can ask the room too if you're feeling like, hey, like anybody else want to chime in 2 cents? But like generally it's up to you. And something looks completely wrong. Like, somebody's going to tell you it looks wrong. I remember on Peninsula Nights, you're shooting in Cannery Row, and I really wanted this Monterey Cannery Row sign in the fucking shot. And it also made sense geographically to have him coming this way. But then like, Stevie and I were looking at the shot and he's even like, I don't know. It just doesn't look that good. Like aesthetically, like it's not as pleasing. And I'm like, you know what? Like he's fucking right. Like shooting the other way made more sense. It was a little bit more of a bitch because there was like live music and a band playing in the background. But you know what? Like it looked better in the end. And it actually made sense geographically. Also like, you make up the geography in your mind. I am sure if you live in New York and you watch movies, you're like, that makes no fucking sense. Like they got from like X Street to Y Street in 2 minutes. Like they didn't even get on the subway. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like that's the beauty of movies. You make up your fucking geography. I can't tell you how many shots in Peninsula Nights didn't happen at the same location that you thought they did. Like the tailor shop. I've mentioned this before, but it's like you see them walking up some business park staircase And they go into the tailor shop. You think you're in the tailor shop. They're in my fucking living room, not in Monterey. No. But that's movie magic, right? That to me, honestly, let me just back up a second. That to me does not sound like it's going to be a fucking issue on Cork. Cork, I think I'm going to shoot mostly on location. And I know a lot of people in the wine business. I have friends that own wineries and just vineyards in general. And like getting a bar or a wine room, that it's, it's not going to be just fucking a cakewalk, but it's like, I think the community support and resources here, like people are very like cool. And I think it's exciting too. Like it's a movie. It's not like you're just fucking, I don't know. It's something that like, dude, like when it's done, it's forever. And you can say the same about music or a painting or whatever. Sure, like I'm not disregarding other arts. You can say that about anything, you can say it about the girl who won the fucking ice skating thing, Alyssa Liu. Like that gold medal's forever, and it's impressive. And I love to see somebody do something like that, be the greatest of. But I don't want to get to that tangent. What I'm going to say is with Cork, it's like when it's done, like it's not just for me, it's for the people. The movie is for others really to enjoy. I mean, I'll watch it, I'll love it, and I'm going to love making it. And I will be 100% committed to that when I'm doing it, right? But when it's done and it's out in the world and it's the people's movie, hopefully it captures the essence of like what it's like to go out in like these locations and places like Carmel Valley, Monterey, Salinas, etc. But also like capture like what that time was like, what people were like, what it felt like to be in, let's say Carmel Valley at a winery in fucking 2026. That's the thing. It's like movies are a timestamp. They are way more than just like, it's so much more than a movie. It's like when you go to watch a vintage film, the people haven't changed that much, but it's what people were wearing, cars, just all the fucking like parts of life, like the normality for them, like to us, we look at it and there's novelty because it's changed so much, right? But maybe people will feel the same way when they see, Peninsula Nights in fucking 20 years or Cork in 20 years. They might look and be like, I can't believe people wearing trucker hats, or like, I can't believe people are doing, this or that. And I think that is something that I really love about movies. When I watch a lot of like the mumblecore films, I haven't talked too much mumblecore lately because like I've, been diversifying. I'll talk about some other movies. And it's like I had my like mumblecore phase and I love it. And I think it gave me a big foundation when I needed it for, independent cinema. And I'd gone through like the 90s cycle, but like mumblecore is a different breed. And like I really studied it. I really dived deep. And the thing I loved about it so much is it captured the 2000s, which was when like it really, for me, it's nostalgic to watch like a mumblecore film from like, let's say like 05 to fucking, or 04 to even earlier than that, like from the 2000 to 2015 or even 2020, that 20-year span, when you watch the earlier ones from the first half of the decade, man, like it almost reminds me of my childhood. It's crazy because like the way it's filmed on like HD home cameras that are like probably 480 or 360. And like, I remember filming on those cameras myself. I was too young. I always wonder, like when I watch them, I'm like, why weren't we making something? Like we were fucking, 11 years old or like 13 years old. Like maybe you wanted to. And I've said this before too. I have like a mumblecore-esque type like band movie and some other stuff, like some of my very early cinematography and like actual filmmaking, directing and acting unbelievably in some of these, that maybe I'll post. They're fun to watch. There's definitely of that nature, but like although like, what I'm talking about, like a Facebook type quality video or like early YouTube type quality video, but people were making films like that in the mumblecore era. And there's something about it that like, even just like without being told or prompted, it's the 2000s and it captures that essence just immediately because of the format. And I don't know if that's exactly what Cork will do just because of like the way it's shot. It'll be shot digital, etc. But hopefully the way people are, the way they look, the way, the cars they drive, the technology they have, you will feel that when the movie has aged. And that's thinking way ahead, but like, I don't know. I think it's always cool to think about it. And for us too, like at the end of the day, like filming a movie is like fucking capturing a memory, and that one that you could watch and like relive. I remember hearing Kevin Smith say like, we're really just selling a memory. Like, if you don't have the movie or it's not in front of you, you're really just remembering it from the last time you saw it. That's why people rent a movie again or buy one, like back in the day. But like, I think that is also relative to like capitalistic perspective of just like, watching a movie. Like I always think like, oh, like I wonder if actors watch their early shit. It must be kind of weird to watch yourself be young, but like maybe not. Maybe it's fucking awesome to watch yourself young and be like, God, I remember when we were making Peninsula Nights, like that happened there. It's just like, it's, it invokes memories. And like I got the rest of my life to make movies, right? But like, I think even thinking now, like, because these are going to be pretty like seminal films, I feel like, for like the rest of the film career. And it's interesting thinking about it from that perspective. It's just another angle to look at it, right? Or another perspective. But yeah, like, how will these films age? How will people look at them when they're, you know, done and have had some shelf life in terms of like, you know, they've lived a little and they've been, you know, I have a lot of confidence that these films like will reach the popularity and acclaim they need to in due time. You know, the audience is there. It's just a matter of continuing to make them and gathering that audience and getting it in front of them and like building a, you know, body of work. And I think body of work's a huge thing. Like, you know, Stevie and I've been trying to do this shit forever. We were talking about it the other day. We're like, God, like from music to fucking film, like it's just been nonstop probably since, you know, 2010. We have just been thinking about like, and it's not even like, oh, like how can we like get it? It's like, what do we need to do to keep, you know, moving forward, getting the ball down the field? And like, I don't know, as crazy as life has been lately, I feel like a lot of the shit is just like becoming readily apparent to me on what to do and like what the path is. And I think there's that Rumi quote, I've quoted it before, but like, you know, once you get on the path reveals itself to you. That's kind of like, and I'm butchering it, but like, that's kind of what I feel right now. I feel like it's self-evident. And yeah, I feel like it just makes more sense. Despite everything going on, you know, all the crazy shit in the world, making this silly movie is, you know, it's the thing. And not silly. It's going to be a fucking, you know, true piece of work. Silly in terms of fucking, you know, we're not getting bombed here or something like that. You know, we're alive and well here in California. Although I did see that they fucking said Iran wants to, like, you know, do drone strikes on California. I'm like, dude, like, let me have my petty problem today, okay? You know, that's some serious shit, though. Anyways, besides the point, I've been working on Cork, revising. I literally actually picked Stevie up today from the speech language pathologist, whatever, the person actually working on him. And, yeah, I had the script just sitting in the car. I was reading it and just, you know, going through it. So it's been good. It's been nice to read it. It's also funny, like when you read a script and you have characters that have been in it, it's almost like talking to an old friend, you know, or, you know, revisiting. Because I remember the characters. Like, I once again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I feel like when I write characters, they're very like, you could imagine someone in the role. And it's funny because it's just words and fucking names on a page, and it's weird how writing works. I'm sure it's like when you read Harry Potter and then you saw the movie. If you had read it and then saw it, you're like, I can't fucking believe they got Harry Potter up on the screen right now. That's the fucking Harry P I saw in my mind. Pretty much with all the characters in that movie, like with the exception of Coral, I never realized he had like a turban and like it was different than how I imagined he would look. But with that one exception, it was pretty fucking spot on. Hogwarts looked like Hogwarts. I wasn't like walking into or watching the movie and being like, God damn, like what's going on? It was like, wow, how did they do that? They took that out of my brain and put it onto the screen. And I say the same with like writing a script. When you actually have like the characters on the page and like the scene is written, you can really see the movie if it's, you know, well written. But yes, I feel like with Cork especially, it really felt like that. And I don't know, I'm very excited about that. I have another idea I've been working on with Stevie. We've been talking about this one since Woodland Hills. I was actually kind of just chilling today and fucking it kind of came back into my mind, but it's kind of like a one location movie. That's something that's a little bit more just like I'm going to write, not for fun, but like more of like a, if we have like some time to squeeze it in, like do it. And I don't think it like, it's not even to write it off as like, oh, like if we have some time. It's just more of like, I think that one is viable if we need a quick shoot, like something that really wouldn't take weeks or months, like maybe a week, you know, maybe 2 weeks, but something we could do. And like, you know, the one location, you know, thriller or situation, I mentioned my buddy Dominic also has his house, and that like spawned a lot of ideas. This one was actually before that. This is when we were down in Woodland Hills. But my point more so is that like it is not the idea that's so crazy. Like there's a lot of great like one location ideas, but it's not, the ingenuity is in the genius of how you put it together and write it and make it like fucking actually make sense or be like plausible or doable. I've been talking about that movie Hot Seat with Stevie. I don't know if you saw it. It's a Mel Gibson movie. I can't remember who else is in it, but besides the point, it's really good. Mostly takes place at a radio station, almost like 90% of it, right? With some exceptions, but it's good writing, good director. He had a vision for how to accomplish that and make it like truly engaging. Like it was a great fucking movie. And and it's not even that it's modern and great. It was just, it could have come out at any time. It was just a great fucking movie. And he nailed the idea of like, okay, it's just a guy on a radio in one location. It's going to be this like thriller action, suspense movie. And sometimes people nail it. And it's the idea. It's not so much like, there's like, it's like somebody pitched Die Hard. They're like, this guy's trapped in a tower and some terrorists take it over. It's like, okay, well, like, it's kind of just sounds like, not that crazy. Like what's the story? And it's like, well, the story's that, but the actual plot and the journey is fucking like, John McClane, like you fall in love with the character and like, oh, his wife's there and you find out all these things and these other minor characters make decisions that upset his plan and vice versa. You got Hans Gruber, etc. Right? The idea itself is great because it has been crafted from just the idea into, okay, what is this really about? In that movie, that's a different conversation, but I do love Die Hard, but it's a different conversation. Anyways, I digress. Just a little something I've been working on. Okay. So this past week, I watched fucking 2 great movies. One particularly really great. Late night, I'm chilling. We watch all these shows together, like Better Call Saul or like whatever, fucking Love is Blind. Like I'm not watching like shows really alone because I'll have like a burner show, but like usually watch a movie at night, right? And like with the time change this past fucking week, I was staying up later than usual and I'm just like, fuck, I can't sleep. So late night, I'm like, you know what? Silence of the Lambs. Let's just, take a shot in the dark. I'll say this. I've seen this movie, but like it came out in 91 and like when it came out, like it was probably in the 90s. I was like scared to watch it. So I guess I saw bits and pieces, but like parents were always like, shh, you don't want to see this. Like, it can give you fucking nightmares. And they're right, probably at the time. But revisiting The Silence of the Lambs as a 2-year-old man, holy fucking shit. Like, what a movie. And even when I was watching it, I knew it was a popular movie. I didn't realize it was like a 5-time Oscar-winning film, and it won the Big Five is what they call it. But I'll preface it. The Silence of the Lambs, 1991. Director Jonathan Demme. Cinematographer Tak Fujimoto. Composer Howard Shore. Very important to mention these guys because it all ties in. Principal cast, Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, Scott Glenn, Ted Levine. Jodie Foster plays Clarice Starling, FBI agent. Anthony Hopkins plays Hannibal Lecter, extremely important. Scott Glenn plays Crawford. He's like the guy in charge at the FBI of Agent Starling at the Academy, whatever. He's fucking, he's a great actor, good part, but he's a little bit secondary to Clarice and Hannibal. What can I say? From the moment it starts, it's like hauntingly good. The score is fucking just, it draws you in. You want to keep watching. It's funny. I watched it and I told like Christine the next day, I'm like, yo, you got to watch this. Like, cause it's a great, strong female lead. And I was like, it's just like, you're going to get gripped. She started watching it and like, literally I could see her from the kitchen, like just eyes on the screen. I'm like, it's just one of those movies. It completely takes over your attention. So anyways, it starts off, it's like Starling running through the woods and a lot of tight shots. The cinematography was very tight, long lens, different than I had, seen like a movie in a while. Like movies nowadays, they do tend to shoot a little wider in my opinion. Just say it's subjective, but that's just, my 2 cents. It was a really, I'm not going to ruin the movie, but if you haven't seen The Silence of the Lambs, like obviously go watch it. But yeah, it's a serial killer movie, but it's also a mystery and detective movie. It also is a psychological thriller. It just kind of encompassed everything. I get why it won 5 awards, and I'll mention those really quick, like Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay. Ted Talley, I forgot to mention the writer. But it's like, dude, it had all those things. The script was fucking ridiculous. Like, if you could predict this script the first time you saw it, you shouldn't be able to predict it. But if you would have really like been like, I know exactly what's going on and predicting it, then you're a fucking genius, okay? And then 2, the way it was shot, Tak Fujimoto, I was kind of talking about it, but he shot so tight, like insanely long lens, insanely tight, lots of close-ups right on the faces of Clarice and Hannibal Lecter, and it just like you fucking like can't look away. It was gripping. The score comes in, this like soft piano and some like strings, and it all worked. The mise en scène was there. All the elements came together to make this like a truly fascinating movie. And I can't say enough good about it. I'm even thinking about it right now. Like my thoughts are ruminating, but yeah. And Jonathan Demme, like, I saw he had done some other movies that I haven't seen. Maybe I have, but A few of the more modern ones I don't remember being like big movies, but regardless, like this is his masterpiece. If this was the only fucking thing he made and then he just like kicked the bucket, wouldn't matter. All the awards were well deserved, but more so it's just like the story. It was crazy. You fall in love with Clarice, you fall in love with Hannibal Lecter, who's like the fucking, psychopathic cannibal killer. But like for whatever reason, you feel you can like you're drawn to these characters. You want to see more of them. You want to see them talk. You want to see it continue. And their dynamic is truly good. And you know what? Sometimes I think you just hit a home run. This movie was a fucking home run. I'd put it into like the category of like Parasite. Like when I first heard about Parasite, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then you watch it and you're like, God damn, like, what is it? Maybe this is an Oscar movie thing, but it's almost inexplicable sometimes. Like what made the movie so good? It's like, I don't know. It just fucking was. And The Silence of the Lambs is one of those movies where it's like, you just got to see it. You just got to experience it. It truly captivates you. It is well performed. The acting's insane. Direction's insane. Writing's insane. It's adapted from a novel. I can't remember the name of the novelist, Thomas something. But yeah, it was just, I can't say enough good. I did watch the sequel, Hannibal. I'll get into that. The final notes on The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is just like, he's like an evil genius, mastermind. Maybe Anthony Hopkins' best performance. I'm sure he wouldn't fucking argue with that. And look, I've seen him, like, I just watched a movie not the other day, but maybe 2 or 3 months ago, just called like Hitchcock on fucking Netflix. And it was about Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock while he's making Psycho. Really good movie, but like so fucking like it worlds away from The Silence of the Lambs, right? And it's funny to, think that it's the same guy. Cause I'm like, dude, like you as Hannibal Lecter, like you were like, a terrifying presence. I think if people saw him in real life around that time, they're probably like, fuck, like I know it's Anthony, but like, dude, he is Hannibal Lecter right now in his life. Like, I mean, God, just outstanding. He truly embodied this like psychopathic, sophisticated serial killer. He's not just psychopathic. He's sophisticated. He is he seems just like, like a normal man, like almost like a fucking professor, right? Or like a really, really rich, affluent person. But then he like, when you see how he actually acts and what he actually does to people when he is like, acts on his like instincts or intrusive thoughts, whatever you want to call it, to actually like kill and like eat people or like do horrible things. Like he is perfectly fucking capable of being the most evil in the world. But it's weird coming from such a sophisticated guy. It's not like Ted Bundy, like, oh, he seems like, an all-American guy. He's like, no, this guy like seems like he could be a politician. He's not dumb. And that's, in my opinion, that's what makes him so fucking dangerous. He's sophisticated, astute, but he has this fucking thing in him that is just like the on switch where he becomes the most evil thing in the world, like a monster. And he is so toying psychologically with his victims or even people around him because he's also supposed to be, what do you call it? Psychologist in his past life, not past life, but before he was in prison, he was like a psychologist himself. So he knows how to prey on the mind and he knows how to assess people and diagnose them and see right through them. And it's pretty fucking crazy. Like, I just love the idea of it. And maybe I'm new to fucking Hannibal Lecter. I don't really care. I fucking fan, big fan. I'll probably watch the rest of the movies. Hannibal 2001, this next one on the list. Directed by Ridley Scott, one of my favorites. He's great. Cinematographer is John Matheson. Composer, Hans Zimmer. Principal cast, Anthony Hopkins. Clarice is substituted out from Jodie Foster to Julianne Moore. She had her reasons. I read that she didn't want to taint the legacy of the original, and she didn't like the script. She felt like Clarice was written different. But besides all that, Julianne Moore's great. I love her, and I thought she did good as Clarice. Gary Oldman plays this guy. I can't remember his name. Werner or Wagner. Some guy who Hannibal had attacked years before. He's the only survivor of any Hannibal's actual fucking cannibalism and shit. So, and he fucked his face up. Ray Liotta's in it as the FBI agent in charge of Clarice, and then Giancarlo Gianni. He's like the Italian commendatore, whatever. Basically their equivalent of police chief, captain, right? Detective. He's investigating Hannibal Lecter abroad. Hannibal was good. It was extremely 2000s. I love that. It had that tone, shot on film. Hans Zimmer's score is beautiful. He's always good. Hans Zimmer, he's one of those guys where you're like, how do they keep doing it? He's just so fucking good at what he does. Rarely do I hear a Hans Zimmer score and think oh, that was, kind of he phoned it in. No, every time I hear this guy's shit and I see it's his name, why am I even surprised? The Holiday, it's one of my favorite rom-com, romance movies ever. And like the score's good. And like I remember looking it up and being like, Hans Zimmer, like, how do you do this? And then Interstellar, and then you're doing Hannibal. The guy is he is a true artist. Incredible. But yeah, the score really paired well with the actual film and the cinematography. Ridley Scott's an interesting director. The older I get, the more I realize like he's just a gritty, like he knows how to get the job done. And I don't think that makes it, there's something about it. I'm not gonna say it makes it worse or better. He shoots what he thinks he can get, and he's a decision maker. Okay. Gladiator's a worlds away from fucking Hannibal, but I think they came out in the same fucking year. Or maybe the year after Hannibal came out and Gladiator was prior. But besides the point, like cinematography-wise, they're different. He really relies on the cinematographer to do the job that he's requesting of them. This movie had a palpable sense of grit. It was different than The Silence of the Lambs. The Silence of the Lambs, it's the 90s. Production's a little different. It has the 90s look. This movie felt 2000s, where it's like things you could tell that maybe they're editing in digital at this point and really like looking at the shit on a screen. It was colored very 2000s, like cold blues, and temperatures were definitely cranked to get an aesthetic look or tint. Can't tell you which, but from my eyes, the characters are very 2000s. It almost had like a Bond vibe, like James Bond, but regardless of all that, it was really good, And Ridley's an interesting guy. He's gone from Alien to Black Hawk Down to Gladiator to what is it, the Last Night, whatever that movie he did with Ben and fucking Matt. He has done so many things, like Alien Covenant, the other fucking one, Prometheus. He has done so many random fucking movies throughout the years. He has a huge body of work. And it's just funny that Hannibal, it's a Ridley Scott movie, not in a bad way. It's different than I don't even want to compare it to The Silence of the Lambs. It's obvious to compare them. It's like a sequel, right? Continuation, one may say. But as a standalone film, it's very Ridley Scott. Julianne Moore was good as Clarice. She was really good. There's nothing even wrong with her performance. It was just so different than The Silence of the Lambs. So following it up, The Silence of the Lambs, I get why it was an Oscar winner. This movie got nominated for a few, I think 3. But Silence of the Lambs, masterpiece. Hannibal, pretty fucking great. Is it a masterpiece? It's not even flawed. It's just totally different. And like I said a couple minutes ago, there's that X factor, there's that inexplicable thing, what made Parasite so fucking great that everyone kind of in general consensus sees it and they're like, dude, that movie was fucking good. I don't care what, there was great competition, but that one's the one. Same with Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal, though, great movie. Loved seeing Hannibal Lecter abroad. He's in Florence, Italy. He's preying upon the Italians. Actually, he's keeping a low profile, but it's if you watch the movie, you see what happens. His character, though, is so fucking just smart and intellectual, and he's thinking 10 steps fucking ahead of everybody, and I love that. I just love who he's a killer, but I love how he thinks. I love how he's always outsmarting and he's always making decisions, and his ability to manipulate people psychologically, it's unbelievable. And he's not even hurting people when he does it, but he's just literally putting the thought in their head or helping nudge them in the right direction. Maybe not helping, but he nudges people and he makes them make decisions through simply psychological ability, which is fucking crazy. He's not holding a gun to people's head. Let's just say that. Really liked Hannibal. Different, but good. The Silence of the Lambs, though, it's minted classic in my book. I watched it 2 or 3 times over the past week just because it felt new to me, right? And wow, I just fucking I'll probably watch it again. Stevie hasn't watched it. We watched it with fucking Chris. I watched it, Christine watched it, and then I watched it again, just kind of between Christine and I's watch. She had to rewind, and there's parts I was like, okay, yeah, I've seen it, but third watch sounds great to me. I mean, fuck, man, I'll probably end up watching this movie a lot over the course of my lifetime, but really love the character. Hannibal, I'd probably watch it again. It's more casual in my opinion. That doesn't mean it wasn't engaging, but I feel like I could throw it on. Silence of the Lambs is you're fucking in it. This movie, it's more it felt like the 2000s. I kind of joke about it, but it's like the movie Armageddon. It's like a guilty pleasure film of mine, but Armageddon to me, yes, I get it's a space movie about an asteroid, but the feeling it actually invokes is 6:00 at night on a summer day. I'm fucking worn out from going to the beach and fucking driving to and fro, and maybe I'm a little buzzed or fucking a little, sleepy, and I'm fucking on the sofa and that movie's just happening, and I'm watching, ceiling fans on, no worries in the world. That's the feeling it invokes. And maybe that's me thinking of being young when the movie actually came out. But some movies are like that. Hannibal kind of had that, where I was like, you know what? If I was just chilling on a summer day and I threw this on, it's not demanding too much of me. And if I am engaged with it, it's really good. It was a great film. Yeah, I loved it. And you know what? I'm going to watch Red Dragons. I'll probably talk about it next week. But that's the third one. It's Brett Ratner behind the camera. I love Brett from his fucking Rush Hour films. They're just incredible. But yeah, I'll follow up on the Hannibal Lecter series. I know there's another one, Hannibal Rising. Maybe I'll watch that. It's more of a prequel, but great character. Obviously, like, it's, probably got ways to go, but that's like the type of like character I can see myself directing in the future, is like that Hannibal Lecter type. I really like the sophisticated like setting and the sophisticated, and don't get me wrong, I like other things, but Hannibal Lecter, like as a character, I enjoy when somebody is on that level of intellect. It's interesting to me because it's like, why would somebody like that be like that? Or why would they be putting themselves at risk and play this game of life and death, or like, killing other people, or even just like possibly being in prison? Like, because in Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is imprisoned. He has been apprehended. But yeah, it's just weird to see somebody so smart and so capable do something so bad and then maybe be locked up for it. And then also see them on the run, because Hannibal's more about him on the run. And it's just interesting. Very interesting character. But I'd love to make something like that. I think everybody loves the serial killer genre to some extent. And when there's a good one, there's a good one. I was talking with Dominic about it the other night too. And what was it? He's bringing up Mindhunter, but we talked about like this kind of like, in Mindhunter has big Ed Kemper in it. But like Ed Kemper, we watched like a really bad serial killer like movie about Ed Kemper. And like, I don't want to disparage it, because like whoever made it really wanted to tell this fucking story. But it was not told in the production capacity it could probably be the best. Hats off to them regardless. I'm glad they made it. But, that's how limited some of these films are, like accessibility wise. It's like, okay, we're watching like the shitty version of it because it's the best we got. Not everything's going to be that, I mentioned this movie before, but Ted Bundy with fucking Efron. Like, that's like a really well-made serial killer movie, and so is The Silence of the Lambs, so is Hannibal. I'm assuming Red Dragon's just as good as well, but I'm gonna dive deeper into that. As far as the rest of the week, I'm just gonna keep fucking working on Cork, auditions, promoting Let Depot. I'll give a little plug right now. Go to letdepot.com and check it out. It's a LUT website that Stevie and I built, and has tons of the LUTs that we use, if not all of them. We pretty much just upload them as we create them. So check it out. Can't even remember what our price is. Just go to the website, check it out, man. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all I got. I'm gonna go inside, have some dinner, and fucking relax. Been a long week, but like I said, it was a good one, productive. Wheels are turning. Stevie's health is getting better, and yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm Devin Thomas. I think that's about all I got. God damn it, I fucking butchered the exit. I'm Devin Thomas. This is another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week.